Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Today is another 30-minute session for parents. And the title for today's session is Preparing for Senior Year, What Parents of Juniors Need to Know. And so I'm just going to give it a few seconds just to see if someone else joined us tonight. Again, hi everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Claudia Aly. I am the Parent Outreach Coordinator with the Illinois Student Assistance Commission, or ISAC. In my role is to support parents in the college application and financial aid process. And tonight we are going to talk about how high school students and families can start preparing for senior year, even though the school year is not over yet. But again, all families are welcome regardless of their student's grade. So before I get started, I'll go over some housekeeping items. This session, as always, will be recorded and will be available on our ISAC YouTube channel. If you have questions during the session, you can use the Q&A or the chat in the bottom on your right-hand side. If your question is not answered today or you want to contact us later, as a reminder, your student can make an appointment with a local ISA core member, and that is available virtually or in person. As always, I like to begin our session with a little bit of background regarding our agency. So the Illinois Student Assistance Commission, or ISAC, is basically the state agency here in the state of Illinois that administers financial aid programs to help pay for college. And our mission is to provide Illinois students with information and assistance to help make education beyond high school accessible and affordable. And as I mentioned, I will be sharing some tips on how junior high school students and families can prepare for their next school year. Again, we are still kind of in the middle of the second semester of the school year, but I think this is an important topic to cover now. We know that senior year is an exciting time. Sometimes for others is very stressful, but the year can go very quickly. So the goal for today is to help families understand a few important steps that they can take now and during the summer, so their students can start their senior year feeling a little bit more prepared and more confident about their college plans and financial aid process. So why do we want to start preparing now, right? So senior year is an important year for students who are planning to attend college, or perhaps they want to do a community college or some type of certification program after high school. So one thing I can share with you is that senior year can feel very busy. My son graduated 2 years ago from high school, and the last year of high school was very busy, very stressful. But again, there are little things that we can do over the summer to feel a little better. And again, this is because students are trying to balance schoolwork. They're involved in different activities or different sports. They will be completing the college application or the financial aid application, writing essays, or finding some recommenders for their college applications or even for scholarship applications, while also trying to finish their school year with their good grades. So that is why taking a few small steps now and during the summer can make a difference. So preparing early, basically we're helping students stay organized. They making sure that they meet deadlines and reduce stress for both, again, students and families. It's not only for them, but also for us parents, that can be very stressful. So the first thing I want to talk about today is the one-click college admit program. Some of you may remember that we talk about it during our YouTube session in January, but I want to review it again because, again, this is an important program for you to know, and also there is a deadline coming up. Again, some students might have heard already about this program at their school, but the One Click College Admit is an initiative by the state of Illinois that allows students to receive free direct admission offers from participating Illinois public universities and community colleges. One of the benefits of this program is that students do not have to pay an application fee. They don't need to write an essay, and letters of recommendations are not required. These are things that are usually part of the college application process, but they are removed through this program. So essentially, instead of the student completing multiple college applications, students may be able to review admission offers and decide which college they want to attend. So if your student wants to participate in this program, they need to opt in during their junior year, right, by completing an online form and giving their consent. However, if your a student is under the age of 18, then a parent or a guardian must provide that consent. So basically, what we're doing by providing that consent, you are basically allowing the high school to share your student's name and their GPA with the Illinois Student Assistance Commission, or ISAC, which then matches the student's GPA with the participating universities to determine eligibility for direct admissions offers. As I mentioned earlier, there is a deadline to submit the opt-in form, and the deadline is May 22nd of this year, which is the Friday before Memorial Day. So this is a step that can be done now, again, in preparation for their senior year. But I want to clarify that this program does not replace the traditional college application process. It is just another pathway that can make the college application process simpler and less stressful for students. As I mentioned, once they start their senior year, they have so many things to complete. So if the student wants to participate and be part of this program, it's one thing that shouldn't be as stressful to complete. So essentially, the One Click College Admit program, again, is one way your student can begin preparing early for their senior year. By opting in now, they can receive admissions offers early as the beginning of their senior year. But this is only one thing your student can do in preparation for their senior year. The summer before senior year is actually a great time for students and families to prepare planning ahead. Again, we're not over with the school year, but I think this is important to start thinking now so we can start working over the summer with the little tips that I will be providing. So let's talk about a few other things that we can focus on over the summer. During this time, students and parents can actually schedule some time to visit colleges. I know it may be hard for some parents, but if the students have this opportunity, it is the best way to learn about our college. Visiting the campus, students can do a campus tour, attend information sessions, and get a sense of the environment. I know for some of you, traveling may be an issue, but many colleges offer virtual opportunities like virtual tours or even online information sessions that you all can attend. For some of us, college visits can also be very valuable. At least it was for myself. Being able to see the campus help us understand what the college environment looks like and what are the different type of resources that may be available to support our students. For example, when I went on a college tour with my son, I was able to see, for example, the distance between the dorms and the classrooms, right? I was able to see the different classroom sizes, the different resources that the school has for the students, like tutoring. A lot of families don't know that the tutoring is available for the students and they don't have to pay extra. I was able to see the different social spaces that the students will be engaging in, right? So even if it is visiting once or visiting two colleges can help students understand what they like and what they may be looking for. And for us, again, it also gives us an idea of the type of environment our student will spend their next 4 years after completing high school. Um, Something else students should consider during the summer, and I know I talk a lot about this during my YouTube sessions and during my sessions with parents, but this is very important, which is searching for scholarships. Many students and families believe that scholarships are only available later in the year, but in reality, scholarships are available throughout the year, and many deadlines begin early in the fall. Another important thing to remember is that not all scholarships are based on only on their grades, right? Merit based. While some of them are, many others look at things like community involvement, leadership, talents, career interests, or even students' background, just to name a few examples, right? So it's not only merit based, but there is other things that are taken into consideration when it comes to applying for scholarships. So again, during the summer when the students are free from their academics, right, and they can start making a list of scholarships, paying attention to deadlines and keeping track of the requirements. The importance here is to start the search early. I usually share this with the families as well, but I suggest to start searching for scholarships as soon as they start high school. This can be helpful because it gives students time to prepare for whatever the requirements are for specific scholarships. For example, some scholarships may require a certain number of community service or volunteering hours, right? Just an example. If the student learn about this requirement early, they still will have the time to complete those hours before the deadline. Other scholarships may look for leadership opportunities or specific experiences. So starting early allows the student to look for those opportunities ahead of time. Um, and then the last thing I want to share about scholarships is that local scholarships from community organizations, schools, or small businesses can also be a great opportunity because sometimes they have fewer applicants. I experienced this with my own son, who was trying to focus on the scholarships that provide or that were offering bigger amount of money. Because he didn't want to be sitting for a long time trying to complete, more applications. But again, those bigger amount scholarships have more applicants, and again, it might be harder to get that scholarship in particular. But I mean, it's okay to apply to as many scholarships the student believes have the qualifications for. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is about standardized testing, which are ACT or SAT. Some colleges consider these test scores for admission decisions. After the pandemic, this test became an optional piece from the college application process for many institutions, but some are still considering them for admissions or even for scholarships, scholarship applications. Students usually take this test during their senior year, and I believe this is around the time when some students take this test. But let's say your student was aiming for a higher score, your student can retake it over the fall. So again, the summer break can help your student prepare for this test if they decide to retake it once they start their senior year. And families can check with their high school counselors to learn more about these testing opportunities as well. Another thing families can focus on is on the financial aid aspect. To me, financially speaking, this is one of the most important steps in the college planning process because that determines whether students can qualify for financial aid that can help make college more affordable. We know college is not cheap, right? And we need to be aware that there are ways that would help us pay for college, not only the scholarships. There is always that confusion, right? Parents assume that if, for instance, the student doesn't have a good GPA, they may not be eligible to apply for scholarships. However, there is a financial aid application that needs to be completed. So the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, which some of you might have heard of this form, and the alternative application for Illinois financial aid are the applications used to determine eligibility for financial aid. On the one hand, the FAFSA is the form that eligible citizens and non-citizens, or U.S. Born or residents complete for their eligibility for programs through federal funds or the state financial aid, and this includes, grants. Again, that could be a grant through a federal fund or a grant through a federal state. A grant through a state program, and then also that includes student loans and work study. On the other hand, the alternative application, or the alternative app for short, is the form that qualified undocumented students complete for their eligibility for state financial aid only. Undocumented students can only apply for state financial aid. Again, the student can complete one or the other, not both. And one of the financial aid applications is a graduation requirement. This means that senior students need to complete one before graduation in order for them to receive their high school diploma. So both applications are available starting on October 1st of their senior year. And to prepare for this fall, it is important to gather tax information and other financial documentation ahead of time. So, they're ready when the financial aid application becomes available. Again, we still have a couple months, to end the school year, and, a couple months for the summer. But again, time goes by so fast. And once you know it, we are in October and we're not ready, right? And I also know, because it happened to me, for whatever reason, sometimes we don't file our tax returns on time. So just be mindful that for those with junior high school students, once they start their senior year, on or after October 1st, they will be completing their FAFSA. And so the FAFSA that they will be completing will be the 2027-28 FAFSA, and they will need their tax return, the 2025 tax return, which are the ones that most of us will be completing this year. So I think this is a great opportunity to remind that it is tax season, right? And that it is important to get your taxes to get your taxes done, and this is one way to support our students. Um, Families play a very important role in supporting their students in the college and financial aid application process. And as parents, we can support them with a few small steps during the summer. Again, starting with having that conversation with your student if they want to be part of the one-click college admit program. Helping them over the summer with supporting them if they wanted to attend or visit one of the colleges. It could be one or two, whatever your capacity is, exploring the different, options when it comes to financial aid, right? Like looking for scholarships, preparing for that ACT. Again, the ACT has been optional for most colleges since the pandemic, but again, some students wanted use those results if they want to apply for a specific scholarship. And then the last piece is to get familiar with the financial aid aspect. Again, there is a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to the type of financial aid that the students can apply. Sometimes we assume that financial aid or the FAFSA or the alternative app is the only type of financial aid, or some other families think that the only financial aid available would be merit-based scholarships. So again, get familiar with the different resources. Find ways to support your students so they can be better prepared for that senior year. And to finish with this session, I just want to remind you all that you are not alone. That there are people, that there are resources available to support you. You can talk to your school counselor. You can talk to us. Your students can make an appointment with one of our ISAC core members. And whatever it is that you need, we are here to support your college planning. We are sharing some information in the chat, and if you have questions, feel free to share those. And we have the rest of the time to answer any question or concern that you may have. So I will check the chat. And I will also, for those who have not explored the financial aid application, if you have a junior high school student and you want to take a look into what FAFSA is or what the alternative application is, I'm going to share the links in here for you to review. And then, as I mentioned, your student can schedule an appointment with one of our core members. So we have the option to do virtual appointments, and I will share that as well. We also share the one-click admit, which is the initiative that I talk about at the beginning. I will encourage you to take a look into the website. You'll find information. You'll find the opt-in form there as well. And then under the resources tab, you'll see short videos on how to provide that consent. Again, if the student is under the age of 18, a parent consent is needed. And basically, that is just providing permission to the high school to share the student's GPA, the student's name with the Illinois Student Assistance Commission. So basically, you are just providing that consent, again, because they are sharing your student's information. If you have a question, please feel free to put in the chat. I will also share a resource for scholarship search. It's under the ISAC student portal. Okay, so I believe I just answered that question. So is there any website for scholarship search? I just share under the student portal. There are two specific ones that I usually share. So Apply and CIS 360. Um, um, Feel free to explore those websites, share with other students, other parents, and hopefully, there are opportunities there. Any other question? Okay. I am just typing our website. So it is isac.org. You can find all the different programs, the different services that we provide to students and families. And with that, I will end the session. Thank you so much for joining us and to participate and support your student. Thank you and have a good evening.